I haven't recorded a workshop in like 8 months, so I'm going to fix that. Start putting some new ones up online.
Good
Go for
evening,
next.
everybody. Thank you all for coming in tonight. And as you know, the topic is health reform, self-reform. So how many of you have ever heard something that's called, you can make habits, and then the habits will make you. So Dr. Steve will be going over some of those same and similar thought processes tonight. So the energy that you come in with, hopefully will be able to be something that he can feed off of and make you all even happier. But you'll also be able to take something simple that you can truly apply and make a difference in your life. Because if you came in here and you just sat and you were entertained by the stories, the information, but nothing changes, did we change any habits? Did we change anything in our health? So there really would be no reform. There would just be healthy tips, self-tips. That really doesn't work well. So we add the reform part in. And on that note, I'm going to not go into too much more detail on all that. So Dr. Steve has more time to talk. But keep in mind something you want to share with a friend, so that way they can also learn about it. And if you're watching this recorded, make sure you can share the link with them, so that way they can also learn it as well.
Oh, do I need more time to talk? Probably not. But thank you anyway, Dr. Sam. There we go. That'll mostly work. All right. So first, anybody do the thing, let more people know. Awesome. This would help if it would work. There we go. So health reform, self-reform is an inside job. So let's start right there. What does this statement mean to you? Nobody can do it but yourself. What did you say? Starts from the inside. Or you saw, I didn't hear, but I saw mouths moving over here or something. Any other thoughts? Everybody watch like bank heist movies?
Yeah.
Like that's another thought. Like,
Very
was it like Ocean's 10, 11, 12, 75? I don't know how many of those they made. But like, right. So sometimes we can look at it's an inside job as like, how did they rob the bank? And other times we can look at it as, well, how are we robbing ourselves of our health? So we're going to go over some facts to start our conversation tonight. And facts are just that. They're facts. They have no emotional component to them except what we apply to them. Fair? So current state of the United States is the United States makes up less than 5% of the world's population. And they consume, what's that number? 80%. So there actually should be a plus there that dropped off since I read it. 80+% of the world's pharmaceutical drugs. Oh. So one of my intentions tonight, if we haven't done it already, is I want to challenge and push your paradigm. Or we could say it differently, your philosophy related to health. Because the philosophy we have related to health and around our life is really what defines exactly what comes. It's just like what Dr. Sam said with the habits. Our habits define our life. If we desire to have greater health, greater life, greater finances, greater relationships, whatever it is, then we should first look to say, well, what are our habits related to that? So not only do we consume over 80% of the world's pharmaceuticals, guess how many countries on the planet are allowed to advertise drugs on TV? Two. Although not Rome, Italy, that's the actual country. Italy has at times said, no, we're not doing that anymore. And then they decided, oh, we're going to do it again. And I don't really know where they're at. I meant to look it up, but United States and Italy are the only two countries on the entire planet that pharmaceutical companies put advertisements on TV. So how many people watch TV with advertisements? Probably all of us. Even with streaming services, they're there now. It's kind of annoying because anyway. How many of the advertisements are pharmaceuticals? Like almost every one of them. So one of the things that is true in marketing is you want to be the advertisement right at the end of the show. So the beginning of the advertisement block and the end of the advertisement. Because that's when people tend to pay the most attention. What do you do in between? Exactly. Yep. You're getting a snack, you're going to the bathroom, you're playing on your phone, you're doing something else. But at some point we're programmed to know, well, somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes, my show's coming back. So you start tuning in. Just pay attention to where those pharmaceutical drug ads are. Tell me the next time we see each other. The average US citizen spends over $12,000 a year that's out of pocket. That is your own money on healthcare. That seem like a lot of money? I hope so. I think that's a lot of money. Why do you think I did this with healthcare or health?
You're not spending that money on being healthy. You're spending that on the symptoms of being sick.
Oh.
So wouldn't that really mean that it's crisis intervention?
See, Tori
care?
has been here now 8 years.
Care?
We had her anniversary recently, so she's got to hear this from me for
Sorry.
a while. And
Have
it's true, like,
feelings on it.
let's really think about it. So I wasn't planning this, Tori didn't know this, but pre being employed here and being on our team, how many times a year did you end up in the hospital sick?
Like twice,
Like every year.
every year.
How many times, let's call it the last 6 years, have you been in the hospital for sickness?
Wow. Huh. Once or twice, I can't, no.
I said 6 because I'm pretty sure it's 0. I think you only
Alright,
ended up
it's
in the
been-
hospital
wow.
for sickness your first, maybe first or second year on the team.
I haven't even been on antibiotics. in 2 years. Maybe even more.
So one example is that's our crisis intervention system, right? And I'm not pro or anti anything. Well, I am pro one thing. It's the power that made your body, is the power that heals your body and happens no other way. But the fact is that we consume 80% or more of the world's pharmaceuticals. If we are spending on average over $12,000 out of pocket every year on our what's termed healthcare, where should we rank in the world for healthcare? We should rank really high, like we should be healthier than everybody else, if that gives health. But what do we start with? What was the statement on the bottom of the title page? Like a bank job, right? It's an inside job. Pharmaceuticals are an outside job. So it's an outside-in approach. Now, I'm not saying there aren't times that potentially that pharmaceuticals may be needed, an antibiotic, whatever it is. There are times that those things could legitimately be needed for our overall health. And if we are consuming more than anybody else on the planet, we make up very small percent of the population. We are overspending every other developed nation on the planet by at least double or triple. And we come in dead last. That should be a problem. And I debated saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, even though it's recorded. So maybe I'll get shut out of like social media and stuff. But the chiropractors are the quacks. Like that's a strong statement. But how many times does someone come here? They go to their other doctor. The other doctor says, well, don't see the chiropractor, do these other things. Well, if those other things worked, then these steps wouldn't be true. Very simple. Now, again, I'm not pro or anti healthcare or crisis care. It's there. It's wonderful. There's amazing hospitals within, well, half a mile and a few miles down the road from us, and they save lives every single day. But what if we could learn to be a people who make choices that help us not need that system? Would that be better? Absolutely. And that's really one of the primary purposes of the work that we do here, because you'll remember the statement, it's education is more important than treatment. If your doctor, which by the way, if you ever look up the origins of the word doctor, it actually means teacher, is failing to teach you how to not end up in the same situation that brought you in the first place, then they're failing you as your doctor. And that's not okay. It's one of the primary reasons that workshops and education are
Jada Briscoe, baby girl, or one other.
our absolute requirement of care in our office. Because if you're not choosing to invest in learning how to do things differently, then where are you going to end up? Anybody? Bueller? Going to date myself a little. We're going to end up in the same place, right? So here's what we get so far. So you may recognize this from our opioid workshop, but the fact is that more people live with chronic pain in the United States than have cancer, heart disease, and diabetes combined. Chronic pain is pain that you've had for at least 6 months or more, and likely is debilitating. Now, I guarantee every single one of you knows someone who is in some form of chronic pain. Now, did you notice what was on your chairs? What was on your chairs? There were pens. So it's with purpose. Besides the fact, I think our new pens are awesome. Haven't written with them yet, try it out. Give a pen to somebody who is living with one of the things that we're going to talk about, or maybe not better yet, but the other thing I love to do is go to your favorite restaurant and swap the pen out, because the server's going to like that way more than what's in there. I guarantee it. right? So you never know, that pen could be someone who is living in this state and has no other hope besides the opioid, the drug, that we don't have time to go into that tonight. Look for our prescribed epidemic workshop to dig into that more. And then they see that pen and they go, oh, I've heard some good things about chiropractic. Maybe I should check it out. Whether they come here or someplace else, it makes a major difference. So more people are living with chronic pain than the major diseases that get all the news. That's crazy to me. So the World Health Organization. So again, everything I'm sharing is fact. It's not opinion from people who are not chiropractors, which sometimes gives a little more gravity. So the World Health Organization, I don't know if they look like that guy, but they have stated that they estimate that 70 to 80% of all disease is caused by medicine's attempt to prevent, is that word? Disease. That's the World Health Organization. Who runs the World Health Organization? Oh, Tori says Big Pharma. I wasn't going to go there, but since you said it, if you follow the money, that's actually yes. But the World Health Organization, probably some of the greatest minds related to what we call healthcare, or what we would call here crisis intervention, which is again needed sometimes. They know that 70 to 80% of all the disease that exists is their attempt to not have it exist. Is that like good? Would anybody, so we're all employed somewhere or at one point. If 70 to 80% of the time you got the opposite result the employer was looking for, would you still have a job? Interesting. I'll just leave you with that thought. And then there's this. So also from the World Health Organization, I forgot at this moment who the article was, so I can link it, but I can find it if you want to know. More people die in the United States from medical errors than anything else. So a few weeks ago, our words of wisdom was related to something called iatrogenic diseases. Iatrogenic actually means medical errors. So it's the things that are done by our well-intended, well-informed, with the best tools they have doctors that result in disease or death. Now that particular one stated it was around 250,000 per year. That's the most deaths per year related to that issue. That's the most conservative numbers. The same researcher has actually said it's more like over 1 million a year. Yet, where is this on that nightly news or in those commercials that we're getting to watch between our shows? That's a challenge. Remember what I said, one of my purposes tonight is to push your paradigm, hopefully make you a little uncomfortable, hopefully not make you like me less, because I'm just sharing facts. None of this is chiropractors. This is just from the greatest minds and the powers that be that are the ones responsible for running our healthcare system. That's problematic. And I think if more people knew that, more people would possibly be seeking something else. Instead of, again, this conversation just happened. So I think Tori took the phone call. So we had a returning patient call that it was here, I think it was 2018, he was here last time. And he called to come back in because he had an injury, had an accident. He said, I know when I was there, this felt right and I want to come back there. Great, let's get you on the schedule. We'll see if we can help. And if we can't, we'll send you to the doctor that can. Well, in the process of that, he was able to get in with his primary doctor. And the primary doctor said, well, chiropractic's not bad, but don't go there. Let's try physical therapy first. Physical therapy is not bad. But I guarantee if you talk to your circle of people, you know people who have been sent to their physical therapist by their primary doctor and didn't get the result they were looking for. Now, I'm not saying that never happens at a chiropractic office. I'm sure it does. But physical therapy itself is amazing, and it works incredibly well when it's properly applied. But let's say that this individual didn't have an injury to a ligament or a muscle, or one of those things that physical therapy is, again, excel at correcting the function of, and it was actually a joint that was out of place or subluxated, what we call chiropractic, and then they spend the next 3 to 6 weeks trying physical therapy. Is that going to fix the problem? No. It's actually going to build it and make it worse. Now, again, that's not any ill will on that person's doctor. That's the standard of care of our country right now. And physical therapy is a way better recommendation than here's the drug to kill your pain. But what if instead it was, well, you already have an appointment with a chiropractor, go find out if they can help. We start everyone with something called our pre-screening, which every single one of you in the group started with. It's to find out if this could be a fit for what you're looking for and if there's a possibility that chiropractic might help. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen that someone comes in and this is not the right spot. So Dr. Sam shared stories, so my brain started going with stories. So I'm going to tell you a story of one of those instances where someone came in and I instantly referred them out. And then we're going to watch a video of one of my great colleagues from Tennessee who will be with at a seminar this weekend. And then you'll find out what the other pen is for. Sound good? So this was when I practiced in New York. So I grew up in New York, near Troy, Albany area. I went to school up in New York. I went to chiropractic school in New York. And when I met Dr. Ashley, I was 2 years ahead of her in chiropractic school. For those who have not yet met Dr. Ashley, she is the other co-owner and host doctor of the office, also my wife. So I said, well, let me practice in New York for like a year, get some experience under another doctor. Then I'm going to move to Virginia, which she wanted to move here, by the way. I'm happy with that choice. But anyway, she said, if this is going to work, you're coming to Virginia. I said, sure, let's check it out. I'd never been here before. So let me practice for a year, get some experience, come down here and had this grand vision that I was going to have this practice set up that could support both of our lives. We're not going to tell that story right now. It didn't happen in 12 months. It was like 22, but anyway. And I lived with her sister for a while, so that's a whole different story. But back in New York, this lady who used to babysit me decided to come in and be a patient in the office. So when she came in, we're going through the same testing that we do for you guys. And I went, something's really not right. So we did a couple other tests that if these things show up for you, we do those. And throughout the test process, what was identified is she was in the middle of having a stroke. So what? I didn't know that at the time. I just knew something was really wrong and she needed to go to the hospital down the street. So I said, you're either going now. I wasn't, and when I was in that practice, we weren't seeing that many people a day. I'm going to drive you myself. I mean, you were my babysitter, so I'm going to help you out. Or your husband's going to come take you to the hospital. What are you going to do? She said, I'm going to go home and rest. I said, no, you're not. So ultimately, her husband came, picked her up, took her to the hospital. And that's how we found out she was in the midst of having a stroke. She had the worst headache she ever had, which if Dr. Sam or I ever hear that, we know that's a problem. That's one of the telltale signs of a stroke. But what if, and I'm going a little off topic now, you find yourself at a chiropractor who doesn't bother to do a real exam? They don't do x-rays. You just pop in, they talk to you for a few minutes, they give you an adjustment, they see you when I see you. That's a lot of what's out there. There's a reason why we ask you to do more, because remember the title, health reform is self-reform. So I'm not giving myself credit for this by any means. I don't want it to come across that way, but we were able to identify an instance where this was not the right place. We referred her to the hospital and the doctor said, I can't believe your chiropractor caught that, it saved your life. Awesome. And again, this isn't one of these, but know that if someone is referred here, or you have somebody you think maybe they can be helped, maybe they can't. The entire purpose is first, let's find out if there's even a chance this is the right spot. And if it's not, you're going to know that. Now back to health reform, self-reform. We're going to watch a 1-minute video from my great friend, Dr. Tria. It's one of Dr. Tori's, Dr. Tori. 8 years, you've been promoted. She's the doctor of finance. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit, make sure we can hear it. But I could try to, but I'm not going to say it any better than Dr. Tria.
My job as a chiropractor is to help you recognize that your spine is a merciless representation of what has gone on in the past. And so for many of you, I didn't know you before the other day. And so if I didn't know you, how's it my fault that you are the way you are? I didn't.
I think that statement. Right? Love that. Moving on.
So why is it my job to fix it? But what is it that we want mostly when we go to any kind of a doctor? What do we want them to do?
Answer that for me.
It's not really me.
What do you want them to do?
Oh, it's-
I want you to fix it.
Fix it, make it better.
Fix it, make it better. But wait, what did she say right before that?
It's not her job.
I didn't know you the other day, so how is it my fault? And she's in Tennessee, she's got that nice southern twang going on. How is it my fault you are the way you are? I don't think I can say that and get away with it quite the way she can, which is why we're using her video. But really, our healthcare system is totally designed, go to the doctor, get the quick fix, move on. No responsibility really on ourselves to make the change that got it, to change the thing that got us here in the first place. I think that's a crime.
They want us to fix it, okay? So if you just want me to do it, then this may not be the right place for you. Because my job is to help you to understand how you got this way, what you need to do to undo this, and then how we together can make the process better. You then developing and having more things the way that they should be, your body functioning as it should, and you getting back to the things that you want to do. That's why we had you fill out that homework sheet.
So why? Well, we have a choice. We have a paradigm, and then you can look this right up online. You can type in what the medical paradigm is. It's called allopathic care. Allopathic means relief of symptom, which is the medical paradigm, and I pulled this right off the internet, is it's a model of illness that excludes psychological and social factors and includes biological factors in an attempt to understand a person's medical illness or disorder. That seems like a pretty intelligent statement, right? I mean, there's a reason I'm not a medical doctor, I'm a chiropractor. I think these two things are hugely important. That's why one of the statements you're going to hear all of the time is when you're here, your family, because I'm going to treat you with the same love, the same respect, and the same passion I'm going to treat my kids with. And if I'm going to do anything different, then I don't deserve to show up here and take care of it. That's at least how I feel. The chiropractic paradigm is a model of health that includes the body's innate recuperative power that is affected by the function of the nervous system. So let's say you've never been to a doctor before. So let's put ourselves in this place, never been to a doctor before. And you were given like the Matrix. Anybody see the Matrix? Right. Red, blue, I don't remember which pill Neo took, the red pill or the blue pill. Maybe I shouldn't have said pill. Anyway, option A or option B. Just reading it, which one would you choose?
Oh, baby.
B. How many people that you know would also choose B? How many of those people don't even know B is an option, or that this is the difference between them? Because we've done a really great job of defining our healthcare system as you go to the doctor is responsible to fix you, and you move on. That's not so good. So I believe everyone would choose option B. Now, not everybody's ready to do the work, put the time in, put the energy, put the effort in. But if they knew it was an opportunity, then it's a step in the direction of taking control of their own health. So another way to look at this. So the medical paradigm says this is normal. Right? Has any of you ever been to your doctor or know someone who has and said, oh, you have arthritis, that's a normal part of aging? Oh, goodness. How is it normal? Now, I got a little excited and I talked a little too much, but if we choose a faith system that says something like the power that made your body heals your body, and we're made in the image of our creator, then how in the world is that normal? There's no way it's normal. There's no way we were designed to break down and have almost little to no function left by the time we get older. But our healthcare system, our medical system says this is normal. Chiropractic says this is a disease process that at a certain point we can do a lot for. And if you find yourself at this point, we can still do a lot for, but at that point, you can't unfuse diffuse joint. So again, option A says it's normal to be arthritic, confused, and barely have any motion. Option B says, well, what can we do to help that innate intelligence, that inborn wisdom of your body to actually correct the issues that are there? And it all comes down to choice. Every moment of every day, we have a choice. We can either choose the thing that's going to help us get closer to, you probably don't know it's termed this, but at the very end of your new patient examination, with whether it was me or whether it was now Nicole, or maybe it was Tori or one of our other team members along the way, we ask something called a question of truth. The question of truth went something like this. If we find that we can help you and your problem is due to subluxations, what would you like to see is different about your life as a result of your care in this office? And what I can almost guarantee is everybody said, I want to feel better. And what I can guarantee is that's not where we stopped. Because you all have something that you want to get back to being able to do, or maybe something you don't even think you can do, but it would be great if you could do it again. When we played with this a little bit in a bit of a training this morning, Tori went with the idea of she wants to be able to get on the ground with her 10-month-old grandson.
Yeah.
And I added get back up. Right? Because that'd be important. But you all have something. And if we know what that thing is, and we dig deep enough in ourselves to understand what that thing is, then making maybe not the easier, but the more right choice becomes simpler. So there's another statement of when the why is big enough, any how is possible. So if the number one cause of death in the world is choice, which it is, then we can either choose things that bring us closer to life, or closer to the other option. Now, I'm not gonna pretend all day long I always choose this one. I like ice cream too. But a little bit's not that big of a deal, but if I ate the whole tub, that's a bigger deal, right? Especially if I do it every day. Trying to convince my 6-year-old ice cream every day is bad. And it's not gonna help her be the second fastest kid in the class this year. Anyway. There's another statement here all the time of, well, I'm X amount of age, isn't it too late? Again, if we choose to believe that the power that made your body is the power that heals it, and we were created by a very divine source, and maybe your belief system's a little different, but we were created by something. I don't think we share the pure by chance. Then it means as long as you're alive, as long as you have breath, there's hope to be better than you are now. So one of the pens was to maybe give to someone in chronic pain. One of the pens was maybe to leave at a restaurant. But the last one could be, and it doesn't have to be the pen. I realize I only gave you 2. Maybe I should have given you 3. Is you all thought of someone who doesn't know what you know. You all know people who are making a different choice because they don't know that this could be a choice. And maybe they're local, maybe they're not. That's not what's important. Maybe they need chiropractic care, maybe they don't. That's not what's important. What's important is sharing the opportunity for them to simply get checked. As you know, getting checked, I believe, is probably very close to, if not the most important thing we have an opportunity to do all day long. The getting checked is that pre-screening that you experienced on your first day. It's to find out if there's even a chance that there might be something we can do to help you. And how much was that? $0.00. Not free, but it's done at our expense. And I think it's the best thing that I can do because it's my opportunity to connect with another person and see if there's a chance I can give them hope and health for whatever they need. So where I'd like to wrap up in our last now 3 minutes is I want to know who you would love to see here or would love to see make some steps to make better choices. And today I will start with Tori.
My stepmother.
Your stepmother.
Yes.
I tell you to write it down, but you know Tia really well.
Yeah.
So let's go this way.
All right, actually, this last weekend, I spoke to my training NCO, Jordan Hamilton, about it. And he's actually, I think he's gonna look into it. He's gotta check his TRICARE coverage.
Mhm.
Also, he's trying to stay within network.
Okay.
But he said he did chiropractic a few years ago. And it helped at the time.
Excellent. Cool. Back to Sam. Nobody, I mean, I ask you this every day. Yeah. How about you guys?
I have one of my students. I would like to-
What's the student's name?
That's me.
Where's Hubert?
Jonathan.
Ooh, I feel like Jonathan's a new name. Is that a new name? It's not, and Dr. Sam says no. But it's not, who was it? It wasn't who you told me last time. I think last time you said, we keep a list, but I obviously didn't catch that on the list. How about for you guys?
Oh, we just moved here.
I like that. Excellent. So tell Alan at the coffee shop the next time he's gonna get checked. Tell him every week.
I'll leave them up.
There we go. That's perfect.
I'm fine.
Neighbor Bonnie, actually, we were talking to him yesterday. He was just telling me he threw his back out while he was on vacation, went to his primary care, got an MRI. He's like, yeah, this I get, they give me good shots. I said, well, that's temporary. I'm not a chiropractor. He's like, he just kind of like talked over it. I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna leave him. Okay.
Awesome. Just leave it at that. And is there, if you ever choose to take that step,
My mother,
remind me of your mom's name.
Jen.
Jennifer.
I think it was partially my fault. But I'm still trying to figure out how to get my husband here, just like financially and stuff. But I'm really thank you for a lot from it. In roofing.
And roofing.
Well, he's in roofing.
In roofing, okay. Remember, the first thing is, let's just find out. And I'm not gonna charge him to find out.
Mhm.
And whatever comes next is, that's, whatever happens is great.
I was saying I feel he's partially like I need something.
How about for you?
Brother Bob.
Brother Bob. Awesome. Anybody like to bring up this week?
I would say my doctor.
My new doctor.
Ooh, definitely want to have a conversation with them. And it's purely gonna be with love, and, some doctors love chiropractors, many of them come here, and some they just don't know what we do, or maybe they heard a story one time, or who knows what it is, right? But our first job is to connect and give hope. That's it. And we just had a little patient today that they went to their pediatrician. And they had a scoliosis. They don't have a scoliosis 3 or 6 months into care, there's still a curve there. And the pediatrician said, well, first, I don't know how that happened. Okay. Second, I know how it happened. Second, it got better. Second, they said, well, whatever happened with the tubes they were supposed to have in there? So, oh, we canceled that appointment. She has an ear infection in the last 4 months. I go, oh, well, that's interesting. Not sure how that happened. And as the conversation went on, I said, I'd really like to talk to that chiropractor. I've never heard of a chiropractor helping correct a scoliosis. I don't know how that happened. Or help a kid with ear infection. I don't know how that happened either. 80% of the time, the adjustment solves the ear infection. Anyway, so some want to know more, some want to know more, and maybe they want to know more because they just don't understand it. But whatever it is, it's awesome, and I'm happy to have the conversation. Because my goal is not to get anything out of it, it's to spread more truth. So thank you all for coming tonight. Take your pens. I guess they're extras, so you can take a third one that we talked about. All right, and have a wonderful evening.
Yeah, she said today, that's nice.